Hey, I'm PH and welcome to Good Bible Knowledge with PhD. In this set of videos, I want to provide a helpful and enjoyable way to understand common questions about the Bible. I hope you'll find these videos helpful for your own spiritual journey in Jesus. Let's get started. Where are all the heroic women of faith in the Bible? When we think of Joshua, we often think about the walls of Jericho falling down. But it is in the book of Joshua that we meet Rahab, the first genuine heroine of the faith. The book of Joshua is named after the successor of Moses who led the nation of Israel to take possession of the promised land. The name Joshua is the word salvation, and it is the Hebrew version of the name Jesus. The theme of the book of Joshua is about the faithfulness of God, as God shows himself to be faithful to fulfill all his promises. And one of the first people that we meet in the book of Joshua is a woman named Rahab. As Joshua and the Israelites prepared to enter the promised land, the first task was overcoming the city of Jericho. Jericho was a great walled fortress at the center of the new land, just across from the Jordan River. And just as Moses did before, Joshua sent spies to investigate the new land, particularly the fortifications of the city of Jericho. Upon entering the city, God led the two spies to find lodging in the house of a woman named Rahab. Rahab was a prostitute who lived along the walls of Jericho. Almost immediately, the king of Jericho was informed of the spies and sent men to Rahab's house to capture them. Rahab, at great risk, protected the spies by hiding them in the roof of her house, and she informed the king's men that the spies had already departed from the city. At Rahab's word, the king's men left the city in pursuit, and disaster was averted. After the king's men departed, Rahab made a very important request of the spies. She said, "Everyone has heard about how the Lord led you out of Egypt through the Red Sea, and they tremble at the power of your God. There is no doubt that the Lord your God is the true God of heaven and earth, and I believe that God will deliver this great city into your hands. And so this night I have one request to make of your God. May God be merciful to me and to my family." This is an explicit expression of the heroic faith of Rahab. Rahab risked her life because she believed that God was the true God of all creation. She believed that her city was going to be subject to God's judgment. And instead of trusting in the fortified walls of brick and stone, she put her trust in the mercy of God. And because of her faith, the spies responded, "God promises to deal kindly with you and your family, and he will spare you from the coming judgment." And they gave her careful instructions to tie a bright red cord outside her window as a sign, so that everyone who remains in the house will be saved. This red cord is part of a continuous image of redemption seen throughout the Bible. In the book of Exodus, when the Israelites were enslaved in Egypt, they were instructed to put the blood of a sacrificial lamb on their doorposts, which saved them from God's judgment upon the nation of Egypt. And now here in Joshua chapter 2, Rahab is instructed to put a red cord on her window so that she will be saved from God's judgment upon the city of Jericho. These are both pictures of Jesus. Jesus, the Lamb of God, the red cord, shed his blood on the cross and died for our sin. And then 3 days later he rose from the dead. And just as Rahab, anyone who will humble themselves and acknowledge that God is the true God of the universe, who will seek the grace and mercy of God through belief in Jesus' death and resurrection, and who will put their faith in Jesus, will be saved from God's final judgment. The story of Rahab is the story of a prostitute, a woman of ill repute, who risked her life to stand against the king and the entire city of Jericho in order to express her faith in God. And as a result, God extended extraordinary grace and mercy to her and her family, and gave Rahab a place of honor. In the book of Hebrews, Rahab is named alongside others such as Abraham, Moses, King David, and Solomon. Thank you for listening to another episode of Good Bible Knowledge. We'll see you next time.